Okay, we're recording. So, happy Sunday. This week we are gonna have Kaylie share a little bit of her story and like her best tips and stuff. I know you all probably already know, or some of you all might be new, but she just hit 4K last month. But she's been doing this with me for I think it's been like 17 or 18 months or something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So she's been with me from the beginning. I think she was my very first promoter, which, she's been with other companies with me too. Um, so I just wanted her to get on here and share because I think of course you want to go 4K in your first 30 days. Of course you want to go 4K very quickly. Of course you want to promote quickly. But I also want you to know that it's okay if you don't. So I think it's great for Kaylie to share, and I think that she's going to share some things that just from her heart that'll really touch everyone else. So I will let you go ahead and do your thing and go for it.
Trying to figure out where to start. So I joined not this past December, but the December before. So I guess like what Krista said, I'm like a little over a year. It was like the day after Christmas. I had been like putting it off. She'd been messaging me and I was putting it off. And it took like me not being able to pay for my kids' Christmas to realize, okay, well, there's nothing really I can lose from this. Might as well try it. And like she said, I've been with a few other companies with her. I started out when I was 18 in network marketing when my oldest was like 3 months old. But it really like, I kind of just joined, not really, like I knew like the potential that the business had, but I didn't really jump in running like I should have, or really didn't have the mindset that I was gonna hit a whole bunch of things because I didn't really look into it all that much. I just kind of was like, okay, I know I need the extra money. Krista's making money. I trust that Krista is telling the truth, that it's legit. So I went with it. And then I didn't hit my VIPs and I let that get to me. I shouldn't have let that get to me. I've learned that now. But the first time I did help someone hit their VIPs, I was like crying with them. And that was Tasha. I don't know if she's on here. I'm not going to scroll through the people because that's going to make me nervous. So I'm just looking at Krista. But the first time I helped somebody hit their VIPs, even though I hadn't hit mine, it was like I was literally crying with her because the feeling of being able to change someone else's life and help them reach their goals and bring in an income they didn't realize that they could bring in meant more to me than me hitting that bonus, because I knew that she was going to be able to use that on diapers and things for her kids and help with the bills and all of that. And so it took me a while to get to 4K, but what really clicked, I think, was in April when I realized that when I started running for the GOAT promotion. And I didn't run for it as soon as they let it out. It was like the last 2 days of it, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to try to get this because we're struggling with bills and I need that double commission next month. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to try to hit my 4K, then I might as well go for it because I was so close. I was like over 50% there, I think. And then when I started running those last 2 days for the GOAT promotion for the double commission, I hit it like within a couple of hours of midnight on that last night. I can't even talk, y'all. But and then it was literally like a few minutes before midnight. I was getting so frustrated with myself because I waited so long and waited so far into the month to run, and I didn't believe in myself, didn't have the right mindset that I should have, that when I did run, I made it happen, but I also was like barely over $300 away from my 4K at midnight in April. Like as soon as midnight hit, I was like so mad at myself. I was like, I could have done this halfway through the month. Like I got over 1,000 in sales in 2 days. And then I woke up the next morning and that little order that I needed went in on the 1st of May. So I was entirely frustrated with myself. I was like, I basically just had to like tell myself that like, okay, you could have done this, but you let your mind get in the way. You let all the family issues, the drama, the relationship issues, all of that get in the way when it could have been done halfway through the month. And then I could have been running for 12K towards the end of the month, and it wouldn't have even been an issue. And then last month, it really just took me looking back on that and how close I had got to it to know that, okay, I can do this. I've got to stop making excuses. Life has been so hard. Like, my family has gone through things unimaginable in the last year. And it's like, I had to put all of that to the side. And instead of looking at that as my excuse, I had to use that as, okay, this is why I need to make this happen. This is why I have to bring in this extra income for my family. And then Jonathan, he had gotten laid off because of all this coronavirus stuff. And so he didn't really have an income. He was door dashing a little bit here and there. But he ended up staying home with the kids pretty much the whole month of May. I think maybe he door dashed a few times or whatever. We have our own issues. I won't go into that. But I ended up paying all of our bills in May, like every last one of them. We got to the end of May and we were struggling to come up with rent, and luckily, like, they're not charging late fees. So we were a little bit late on it, but we still made it happen. And that was mainly me too. He really didn't do a whole lot on that either. But it took me changing my mindset and like, okay, Kaylee, you can do this. Stop being lazy. Stop staying in bed and taking naps all day and saying I'll do that later. And just, I had to make myself get the work done, and I had to try to pour into my team more and work with them more, because I realized, like, yeah, I could do it all on my own, but that's not the point of this business. The point is to work together and help each other succeed. So when I flipped my mindset to, okay, I can do this, and I started focusing on, okay, well, what are my team's goals? What does she need? What does she need? What can I do to help them? And I helped them run. Like, I helped Tasha hit her 4K too within like a couple of days or so after I hit mine. And that was like written down on my goals on a piece of paper. Like, I'm going to hit my 4K, then Tasha's going to hit her 4K, and so on. So like, I had to write out exactly what I was going to do. I had wrote out like exactly like what I was actually going to use the money for that was going to be coming in. And I had to look at it from a standpoint of, okay, I can help change all these lives. I'm not just running for a promotion. I'm helping other women run for this too. So it was like, all the struggles that I've faced, I know that I'm not the only one that's faced them. So it was like, I really just kind of had to put my big girl panties on and just make it happen. So.
And I will say, so she missed 4K in April, like barely.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Next time, make it happen. Like, no excuses, run for it. So the month that she hit 4K, and this is why we preach so much on, don't push for a 4K, push for over 4K. You ended last month at like what, 6,000 something or something?
Yeah, I think it was almost 7.
Yeah, like the month she went 4K, she went over 4K. That's the goal. It's to go over. And then now your volume's like what, halfway to 4K already through the month?
Yeah, I think it's either 49% or 51. I don't even know. I think it's almost 2,000.
It's not even halfway through the month. Like, tomorrow will be halfway, but still, like, she's halfway there. She's halfway to her goal already. And
I want to butt in and say
one day you just have to be so fed up. And this has been her. Like, she had came to me like, you know, I can't pay this bill. Aren't you tired of living like that? And I've said this to her, like, it's time to stop living in survival mode. That's where you're at, and it's time to get out of it. And she knows. Like, I think I get real with Kaylie more than anybody in the world. I don't know. She probably hears my tough love more than anybody. But the thing is, it's because I've been there. I've made all the excuses. I've been through all the things. I've lived in survival mode way, way, way longer than I ever should have. And it's not okay. So if you're there, that's fine, but you have to move on. You have to get to a point where you're tired of being short on bills, tired of going to bed every night stressing whether you're going to pay this or that or whatever. And that's not why you need to be working every day. You need to wake up every day and do something that you love to do. Like, I genuinely love to wake up and just take my products and just do whatever I want to do. And I'm not saying that you can't do this while you're working or whatever, but take advantage of how good you feel on the products. I know you all love the products, so run with that. Live your best freaking life. Like, if anything, this COVID stuff should have taught you that time is not promised. I mean, you could wake up one day and be bedridden. You could wake up one day and be stuck, literally stuck in the house like a lot of us have been. What are you going to do at that time? Because I know a lot of people, when it happened, they're sitting here twiddling their thumbs and they're like, oh, well, I could clean, or I could do this, or I could finally do this or do that. But those are the things that you should have been fitting in anyways. And if you didn't know what to do with yourself, that was the problem too. You put things off for so long. You just deal. You just put up with stuff. You just literally just live in the survival mode. Just live in the, how do I pay next week's bill? Well, I don't know how I'm going to pay the next week's bill. Like that, you're living just day to day, stressed out. And I know it's not about the money, but it's about you. It's about how you're living, how you're stressing yourself out. So I had to just get real with Kaylie a lot of the times that I'm like, dude, you come to me with the same thing. It's time to change it. And she was like, you're exactly right. It's time. You're exactly freaking right. Let's just make it happen. Let's just change the game. And I mean, once she puts her, that's what she don't get. We see the potential in you before you do. We see what you're capable of. You might not, because you might not, like Kiana can look at me and see all the good things about me. And same thing with, I can look at her and see all the good things about her. But with ourselves, we doubt ourselves. We second guess ourselves. We just don't believe that we can make it happen. So this is living proof of, like, I've told Kaylie, I know what you're capable of. Just do it. Like, you know what to do. Just do it. We say this all the time. Like, you know what to do. Just do it. So she finally did it. Like, she finally woke up. And I'm not saying like her life is easy now. Like, no, that's not what happened. She didn't go 4K and then all her bills were paid the next day. But she finally got over her crap. So I want you to share a little bit about, I guess, the difference between, I don't know, like the difference between living in your survival. So, because I know you're still in this mode. You're still making your bills happen. You're still going through the things. But what's the difference? What are you doing different? Are you doing more personal development? Like, what are you doing?
I'm not honestly being as consistent as I need to be. I'm working on that, but I have been trying to do more self-development. I started listening to more worship music and stuff like I'd used to when I would get in the right mindset, and then I like kind of like just let that like die off when like Jonathan get me in a bad mood. I just let it, you know me, you ruin my whole day because I'd be blowing you up about it. But so like I've tried to do more self-development, and then I was real bad about not doing follow-ups. So I've tried to make sure like that I either write down in my planner or on our, like we have a calendar whiteboard in our kitchen. If I try to write down there, if someone told me a specific date, and I don't know if like they took off the like reminder things on Facebook Messenger, but I can't figure out how to do that anymore. I used to put a reminder in Messenger, like in the chat, to message people on a specific day. But I can't do that anymore because I don't know if it just updated or whatever, but I'll put it in like my calendar on my phone or in my reminders. And I try to make sure like I have a specific day to follow up with people, like that works with like where their paycheck's going to hit, or I haven't used a whole lot of my credits for myself either. I've leveraged a lot of them. And even if that means just like offering just free shipping on something, I've always tried to, every time I talk to someone, to leverage something. Even if I only have like 10 credits, like I'll try to leverage $5 or $10 for shipping or whatever. But I've tried to make it to where I just focus on their goals and not, I need a sale right now to, like, I try not to focus on, okay, I need my 2 auto ship customers. I focus on, okay, well, this person needs this, so I need to figure out exactly what is going to meet their goals. So I actually make it personal and try to relate to them instead of just like making the sale.
Okay. And then let me think. What are, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that, like, I've seen Kaylie's growth also because we were in the same company together before. And then she joined this, I guess it would be like 4-ish months before I did. So I've still got to watch her growth and her journey. And I can say that it's one thing to, like, want something, to need something. It's another thing to decide. And I think that that's what everybody needs to decipher between. Like, do you want the income? Do you want the change? Do you want to hit, like a new rank? Do you want to help people? Do you need the money? Do you need the rank? Do you need these things? Or are you deciding to do it, whether you want it, need it, whatever the situation is? And I say that because I think that even though Kaylie and our situations are very different, it was still exactly the same. I did not go 12K until I decided. Like Krista and Brittany can tell you that I did not want a team at all. I'm very open about this. I didn't want a team, didn't want to have to deal with training people, didn't want to have to deal with anything because of PTSD from my last company. And as soon as I decided that I was going to do all 4 pieces of the core 4 puzzle piece that you hear me talk about every week, and I decided that I wanted a team, and not just any team, but a team full of self-sufficient, driven runners specifically. I didn't want any team. I wanted a team specifically of runners. And I decided that. And as soon as I made the decision, it happened. And I feel like with Kaylie, the same thing happened. As soon as she may have needed the money the entire time. She may have wanted the promotion and wanted to change lives and needed her bills paid the entire time. But it wasn't until she decided that she needed it and wanted it bad enough that she just decided to make it happen. So I don't know if that makes sense, but like wanting something and needing something are already very different, but wanting and needing versus deciding it's almost like self-sabotaging behavior. You can need something all day long, but until you decide to actually do it, it's like you're self-sabotaging. You know what I mean? You can need your bills paid all day long, have this vehicle to do it, and not make it happen. It's self-sabotaging. I mean, that's just what it is. So I think Kaylie and I are just very, very similar in that when we decided, that's when it happened. We both needed it, both wanted it, you know what I mean? Like the whole entire time, because it took me a full year to go 12K as well. But once we decided, it was like, boom, it happened. It's just like once you put like pen to paper, you decide you're ready, and it just happens. Like all the things just fall into place. So I don't remember what she was asking you, or if she knows what she was asking you next, but I just wanted to throw that in there. Did you have anything that you wanted to add, Kaylie?
I guess I was trying to think. I was thinking of words while you were talking, and now I've done forgot. Oh, okay. So kind of to go along with that, like where you're saying like we decided, I also like to tell my girls like everyone's journey is different. Like you can come into this business and like you said, you can need the money or you can want the money and you want to make it happen. But until you actually sit down and you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this, like make it a non-negotiable, like it's not going to happen because you're just sitting back and you're pretty much treating it like a hobby. And if you're not in the mindset of, okay, I have to make this happen, like it's not going to slip out of my hands this month, I'm actually going to do it instead of just wanting or needing that to happen. And then it's like, even if you are like pouring like your heart and soul into things and like you're planting all those seeds, just like any other business, if you plant those seeds, they're going to harvest, whether they harvest right away or they harvest a year from now, those seeds are going to harvest. Like I had someone today buy a 6-day mini from me that's been doing my hair for I don't know how long. She's just been randomly asking tiny little bits and questions like over the last year. And then she finally messaged me like, okay, I need this. So how much is it? Like you have to stay consistent with showing up and making sure people know, like, you're not just going to quit and you're not just BSing them to make a paycheck. Because if you continue to show up consistently, your journey is different from everyone else's. You could go 4K in a month, but you could also go 4K in a year or longer. But it really just depends on when you make that decision that you're going to actually pour yourself into it and make it happen, and you've stayed consistent all the way up until then too. Because if you haven't been consistent, those seeds haven't been planted, people haven't been watching you, or they have been watching you like fall on and off and on and off and not taking you seriously. So I know a lot of that for me, when I would like not be consistent for even a small period of time, I would see people, just like the other companies I've been with, I've seen other people order from other people that may have talked to me first because I wasn't being consistent. And it's like, you have to understand, like, you can't let yourself get frustrated with yourself if it's not happening overnight, because it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's literally a business that you're building. And so you have to trust your journey. And if that journey is a month long till you hit your goal, or a year or 2 years or whatever, you have to trust that if you stay consistent and you pour your whole self into it, you're going to get there eventually.
I agree. So I just want you all to know. Did somebody unmute? I thought somebody unmuted. I just want you all to think about these things. I want you to decide what you want, and decide what you're going to go for, and decide that you can and will make it happen. That everyone's timing is different. Maybe you've been in for 6 days or 13 days or 31 days and you haven't hit anything. That's okay. Don't stay content and complacent. The complacent syndrome will kick in, and then you'll just be fine with it, because that's what happens. You get hard on yourself, and then you're like, oh, well, forget it. I just want you all to know, like, it's okay to be where you are, but it's not okay to stay where you are. You have to, and that's why I say every day is a new day. You have to wake up each day and just be ready for more. Be ready to do more. Be ready to try something different. Be ready to push through regardless of what's going on, and take advice from whoever. So I hope that you all got tonight just whatever you needed on your heart, whatever you needed to hear, whether it was to decide to do something, decide to make something happen, decide that you just really like to be a part of what this is, and what we have going on. And Kiana, you got anything else to add tonight? No? Okay. Well, thank you all for getting on. I'm glad this was short and sweet anyways. I'm exhausted. So let me stop this recording.